Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is Lil Bits. I'm sitting down with Jeff Bednar, right? Bednar?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes I say names incorrectly. From Profound Microfarms out here in Lucas, Texas. Really stoked about this opportunity. We wanted to highlight the farm, Jeff, what he has going on here, talk about some health and wellness, talk about the production of growing foods here in Texas and then in the agriculture industry. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. I've got a list of questions and just ideas and insight that I wanted to ask him about and kind of go from there. When I first started looking into you, I actually didn't realize that you were in commercial real estate or real estate period, and man, that's awesome because the transition from going from real estate to farming is like night and day.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Like what was that? Like what is it that sparked the that motivation to go from real estate into what you're doing now?
Yeah, man. So when we were in real estate, I had a real estate company. We had a financing company, an investment company, and so I was gone nights and weekends. We bought and sold like 100 houses in 3 years, and so it was very, very busy. We had construction crews doing remodels on these, a property management company, and when I sold that, my half of the company to my business partner, it was really just for me was figuring out what can we do next. And when designing my perfect business, I really was interested in something that was going to be additive on all levels.
Yeah.
So in real estate, it's very much pay, beat somebody up on price, pay as little as you can
Yeah.
pay, sell it for as much as you possibly can, and then take the margin out. And so it's very extractive. And so I figured there had to be a better way of doing business that was going to be something that could add along every step of the way. And that's really with farming, man. We get to add nutrient rich foods to our community. We get to employ our community, work with nonprofits. I mean, live a healthy lifestyle, be at home to raise I've got two daughters. And so every part of that adds to the chain versus extractive.
That's cool that you brought that up because I was going to ask you about that because I know that you have the two girls and that transition from being in a regular home to now being on the farm. Like, what's that like for them?
It's been interesting. We had the farm for 10 years. So when we moved here, they were 4 and 6, and now they're 14 and 16.
Oh wow.
What I can say definitively is they are not interested in being farmers. They both have kind of got their own paths. However, the just the opportunity to live outside and raise the kids with chickens and animals and
Yeah.
good food and then also the thing I didn't even plan for, but was hanging out in the culinary community. My kids are friends with some of the best chefs in
Oh
North
yeah.
Texas. We eat really, really good food. We've had a private chef work for us for a while. That was, when he was on staff, he would also make dinner for us. And the kids get to work on the farm. My daughter bought her first car from money she made working on the farm. They help out at our events.
Yeah.
It's really just it's a family experience where we're all brought together.
I saw recently you guys posted one of the cars that she was working on. I don't know if she sold it or she was trying to sell it or she
Yeah,
was trying
it's
to
still
sell
for
it.
sale right now. She's ready to move on to her second car already
What
in
is it?
16. It's a 64 Corvair convertible.
Oh, sick.
Restored.
Yeah,
I've always been into vintage cars, and luckily I passed that bug a little bit on to at
that's
least one of
sick.
my daughters.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
No, yeah, man. Like, I think that's one of the coolest parts of like knowing about you and what you do. You working with the culinary, I guess, greats in Dallas, because there's so many concepts that I know of that you've worked with. Maybe talk about that a little bit. Like, who are some of your favorites? What's some of the stuff that you do for them?
yeah.
I think that'd be cool to know about.
I got to be a little bit careful when mentioning favorite chefs, but well, we've been really fortunate. Before COVID, we had 130 restaurants we were supplying in Dallas and Collin counties.
Oh wow.
Now it's 60 or 70, and so a couple of things happened in between there. We picked up retail home delivery business, and then kind of honed in on who our best restaurant and chef wholesale customers are. But really the most creative chefs are the most fun to work with because they're the ones that I can call. Like last night, I was texting chefs going, "I got to move 60 pounds of heirloom tomatoes. They're not going to make it until next week if
Yeah.
I don't move them this week." So, texting these chefs and just basically the chefs that I can say, "Hey, we did an experiment. We're growing red watercress.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Can you use it? How big of a leaf should we harvest?" And
Oh,
those
it gets
chefs,
technical
oh,
then.
100%. Like
That's
we want
crazy.
nasturtiums, but we only want them if they're dime sized or quarter sized.
Oh wow.
And then, how long of a stem do you want on it when we harvest it? And that's part of the direct connection when you're working directly with the customer that most farms these days have lost. They're just growing a big field of something, goes through multiple distributors shipped across the planet, and then it gets to the end consumer who's got no say in it. When we work directly with these amazing chefs, they're telling us exactly like, hey, could you make the heads of lettuce a little bit smaller? Or, like little things like that, that
Yeah, no, it's
they're able to
interesting.
make just a beautiful piece of culinary art, edible art out of it.
Yeah.
And we get to supply the ingredients.
It's cool because you guys are both kind of like artists, if you really think about it. The other thing too is you mentioned being kind of direct to consumer, not just to the chefs in Dallas and then even around Dallas, but how's that going? I mean, I know that you guys just started the Profound Foods. Like, how's that?
Yeah, so we started Profound Foods, which is our distribution hub, in 2018, after we'd been farming for about 4 years, and it was only designed to sell to restaurants and institutions, school districts,
Oh,
things like that. And then when COVID hit, that's when we made the switch. We said, hey, we went from 130 restaurants to four in one week.
yeah.
So the next week we launched retail home delivery. So
Oh,
then
wow.
anybody from their home in 78 zip codes in North Texas can order online.
Oh, well, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, it's basically if you go up from Dallas in a big triangle all the way out to like Anna, Salina,
Oh,
we're
that's
quite a few
incredible.
areas, yeah. But the way the food hub works is you can actually order from our farm, but you can also order from about 55 other farmers, ranchers, and producers.
Oh, wow.
So meats, dairy, artisan bread, eggs,
That is good to know. I did not
meal
know that.
kits, drinks, coffee, all locally sourced
Yeah,
products.
yeah.
And then once you order online, the farmer actually will then go harvest the item after you've ordered it. So it's the freshest possible products delivered to us. Then we do deliveries every Friday to home customers and a couple other days during the week for restaurants.
Man, so you guys keep busy out here. I mean, like I mean, growing to getting it to people's door to working with, restaurants and chefs. I mean, that's a process.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
do you feel like when you first got into the farming and did you have that vision from the jump or was it something that kind of scaled to that little by little? Like
Yeah.
what,
I had
what
I
was
had
that?
no idea what the hell I was doing, man.
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
don't, right? Um, when I first started this whole farming operation, the goal was actually to make pre-made salad kits
Oh,
on a subscription basis.
that's
And
crazy.
before I
It's like
launched
night
that,
and day.
I had a chef come by the farm and do a tour, a couple of chefs, and they started saying, "Can you grow this? Can you grow this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll grow that for you."
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it before, but
Yeah.
then I kind of got sidetracked on working with all these chefs. Then COVID came along, and we got sidetracked by,
Man.
hey, now we got to do retail home deliveries, and
Yeah.
restaurants came back. Well, now we're back doing wholesale deliveries. Now we started working with a couple of school districts. That's going to be a whole different level of
Oh,
deliveries.
wow, that's crazy.
And then during the pandemic, we launched our commercial kitchens. So now we have an incubator kitchen with 15 small companies that rent space from us.
Oh, wow.
So we help them get manufacturing license. We help them get their insurance, get distribution, so they can actually go from a cottage law, making it home, to being having a real viable company.
Yeah.
So
You
there's
guys are innovating, man. Like that's incredible. I mean, because think about that. Like, when you first get into something, you always have an idea of what you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's funny how quickly that changes.
yeah, we've made a few pivots over the years, and we've learned some hard lessons, but we've also learned a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
There's definitely been things that we've done that has not worked well, and pretty much every week on the farm we'll do a staff meeting where we talk about what's working well right now, what needs to be working better, what do we not like doing anymore. And so
Yeah.
we're constantly doing that with our crops that we're growing. We're doing that with the events that we host, with people that rent space from us. All of these things, and it's really just not getting stuck in a rut of doing the same thing every day,
Yeah, no,
which
totally.
would drive me crazy. So it keeps it interesting.
That's what I was gonna. It's funny because like your personality, man. Like you've always been like this really cool person. Like first time I met you, we just kicked it here on the farm with Chef Aaron Nelson when we were doing stuff with Hook Line up in Plano.
Yep.
And I just remember just like getting a taste of who you were in those small moments and being like, dude, this guy is like really interesting, and I think it'd be fun to like really learn more about him and even showcase what you do. That's another reason why I wanted to highlight what you do, because I knew it was like a real entrepreneurial endeavor,
Yeah.
especially you going from real estate into what you're doing now and then even scaling. I mean, that's no easy task at all, and
Absolutely,
I commend you for that. I mean,
Thank
it's
you.
seriously like it's cool to see, man. I've been watching you for years now. I mean, I've probably known you maybe like 6-7 years over time, but it's just from where you were first time I came to the farm, even being here today and seeing the growth and just seeing the passion still there, incredible.
Yeah, man.
That's it's cool, man. I really
I-
enjoy that.
I think that the biggest thing that I would attribute. I think it has less to do with me and more about my ability to build a community, because all of these different ideas and all of these things came from other people. We just like heard something, or I came up with an idea and then ran it by all these other amazing people that are in an industry, food people, farmers, and that's really how we've been able to organically grow over the years, is just by building this solid community of people that are passionate about, food, sustainability, the environment. I mean, all these different pieces. You bring passionate people together, magic happens.
Oh, it's true. And it's funny because you said, you use the term organically, and that's a huge thing right now, especially with food in America. Like a lot of people are tired of eating processed food, with additives and preservatives and all these chemicals that we really can't digest and we don't need in our body,
Right.
And it's cool to find someone that is passionate about growing a product and putting out a product that is whole and wholesome and actually good for you, and that's something that I kind of wanted to talk about too, is, like you guys specialize kind of in the hydroponic style of growing. Could you tell us a little bit about that, like how that works?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So around probably 2012, somewhere in there, before we even thought about doing the farm whatsoever, I was diagnosed with a connective tissue disorder called Marfan syndrome.
Oh, wow.
So it affects every tissue in your body. I've had open heart surgery. I've had 16 other surgeries, just all kinds of different things.
I remember you talking about that one
And at some point, I really realized that we are what we eat.
Yeah.
So what's going into our body is what makes up our body.
Yeah.
And so we started, my wife and I started eating healthier. I was raised on junk food and boxed food, and things like that. And once we really started making that difference in our lives, that's when our eyes opened to like, oh man, I feel better. I'm not having to take blood thinners all the time.
Yeah.
And so that is what started the deep dive on where our food comes from. Before we started the farm, it's like, okay, we started going to farmers markets. Well, some of the markets we were going to were selling bananas and avocados. They don't grow in North Texas. Or they had, you can see where they peeled the label off of it, right?
Funny.
And so that was really, for us, it was like, well, how do you get it closer to your food?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you start growing it yourself. And one of the things that we realized, and through research, is that a lot of the nutrients that are in our food are depleted for many reasons: chemicals, nutrients. But one of the biggest reasons is the time it sits on a shelf. It's the transportation time. All of our greens are coming from the Salinas Valley, California, Mexico. They're being shipped for 2 weeks before they get here. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that the nutrients in a plant are highest when the plant's living. So as soon as you harvest that plant, the nutrients start degrading. Every hour, they're going down further and further down. I heard a statistic recently that the average apple at the grocery store is 9 months old.
Oh, wow.
Coated and waxed or a peel. It's been gassed and kept fresh for 9 months. So if you go to a grocery store, you're buying a 9-month-old apple.
That is crazy.
How many nutrients could be left in there versus the apple that you go pluck off the tree?
Not many, man.
So part of it is we need to learn to eat more seasonally. We need to eat what's in season, what's fresh, and not just have strawberries every single day of the year. But that was a big thing for us. So having a urban farm or suburban farm where we're 30 minutes outside of Dallas, where we can harvest things the day of them going to deliveries is a big thing. And so that's part of the nutrient thing for us and our family and our community. We're harvesting same day.
Yeah.
When you guys were setting up this morning, you saw our crew running around harvesting lettuce and all the other things, tomatoes. That's going out on deliveries right now as we speak. So the chefs could not get a fresher product because we're 30 minutes away.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I even remember when we were doing stuff, some of the greens that we'd get from you, just the difference of flavor profile and just how good and how fresh it felt and tasted in almost everything that they were doing, like whether it was Aaron or whether it was Marcus at Urban Taco. I mean, it was just so neat seeing and tasting that difference, because it's huge. You don't think about it, until you actually experience it.
Yeah.
And even coming in and like trying some of the products and the produce today, like, I mean, it's incredible, like the profiles that you get. Like, you don't even expect it. You're looking at it, you think it's just going to be like a typical plant or a typical salad leaf, or and then you taste it and you're like, whoa, shit, that's a whole different note that I didn't even have on my palate.
Yeah, I think another interesting thing too is we host a lot of tours and things like that, and we grow right now around 300 varieties of crops.
Oh, wow.
And so I had a guy the other week or two ago that said, I don't like tomatoes. I was like, oh, is it the flavor of tomato or the texture? And he's like, it's more of a texture thing. They're kind of slimy. I was like, dude, I got a tomato for you. It's called a mochi. It's got the texture of a gummy bear.
Oh
So
wow.
it's not like juicy like a cherry
Yeah,
tomato
yeah, yeah.
pops in your mouth. This you like chew into, and you're like, this is like a gummy bear. And
That's
he loved
interesting.
it, and it changed his mind about tomatoes. You
Have
know,
you had to learn like a lot about different like I guess vegetables and leaves that you guys grow? Like, did you know about a lot of these before you even got into it, or was it
no,
something that just kind of over time?
I did not know anything about anything. I mean, we've trialed over 200 varieties of lettuce alone
Oh
to
wow.
get to right now. We grow about 9 varieties.
Yeah,
So to get to where we are now, we went through just tons of them. At any given time, we're probably trialing 20 to 30 new varieties of things.
that's incredible.
When we took on our new tomato greenhouse that I was walking you through earlier, we have 20 varieties of tomatoes growing. But a year ago, when we started doing that, we started with 20 varieties. We kept 4. We started 16 new ones. We're going to keep 3 or 4 out of that round,
Yeah.
and so we can until we can find the most pest resilient, the most flavorful. We do send off samples to labs for nutrients. We have a Brix meter to measure the sugars in them,
Oh
and so
wow.
we're really looking across the board on what plant is going to do the best in our growing environment and
Yeah.
provide for our customers.
It's really technical, man, and like I know, you've always got natural, predators in a farm, or like how do you guys go about that? Like, I mean, because I know that's a whole process in itself, making sure that like things can like live and grow and not get attacked by, a
Right.
bug or whatever it might be.
Yeah. So we practice IPM, which is integrated pest management.
Oh, cool.
It's in an organic version. So what we do is right now we get 9,000 ladybugs every other week delivered.
Oh wow.
So one thing that's interesting is people are like, oh, you're in a greenhouse. It must be nice not to have bugs. It's like,
Yeah.
no, when you create the perfect environment for plants, it's also the perfect
Yeah.
environment for bad bugs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we get aphids, thrips, spider mites, russet mites.
Oh wow.
We there's a handful of them,
Yeah.
and ladybugs will eat almost all of those. We get beneficial mites delivered every other week, and they're microscopic. You have to have a 25x
Yeah.
microscope to see them, but we go sprinkle those all over all the tomatoes,
Oh wow.
and they eat the bad mites. We get praying mantises, lacewings, all beneficial insects, and we release those every other week in the greenhouses and then some outside. And then if we ever do get a really bad infestation, spider mites or something that the beneficials can't control,
Yeah.
we'll use an organic certified pesticide. So we do use a little bit of pesticide when
Yeah.
it's necessary.
Yeah.
It's not fogging the whole greenhouse,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
hitting the
Yeah.
spot. And it's neem oil or insecticidal soap and that kind of thing. So that takes care of most of our problems. And except we're really fortunate to work with Collin College and Dallas College. And so Texas A&M, we'll call them and say, hey, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And they got scientists on staff
Oh
that
yeah,
come
man.
back
A&M's an
give
incredible
us
school.
advice. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good at agriculture. I mean, like I think if you're in Texas and you want to get into it, that's one of the best places to go.
It's a
And
great
everybody-
resource. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody talks about them. That's super interesting, And like, the other thing too is I feel like most people don't realize, the benefits of eating, fresh vegetables or fresh produce, most kids and most people they eat what their parents put on their plate,
Right.
and a lot of times like people aren't educated on the benefits of the nutrients that are in the foods that we eat, and there's this saying that I always hear, and it's like you can either pay the farmer now or pay the doctor later,
Yeah.
and it's so true because like even my mom has a disease called sarcoidosis, and it's an inflammation disease, or it's a disease that basically your body attacks itself,
Yeah.
your immune system. And so I've even tried to help her in educating her with foods to eat and to help the inflammatory, the inflammation, sorry, I guess like subside and not be as strong, because like even her when she was taking medications, man, they were putting her on all kinds of steroids. She was gaining all kinds of weight, and it was scary,
Yeah.
because like some of the medications that she was on were causing more harm than
Right.
good, So it's like they'd fix one thing and then hurt another, and then here we are now, where I'm trying to teach her, eating better, eating clean, eating organic. We do a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruit, a lot of greens, a lot of purples, and it's been beneficial. I can
Yeah.
see the difference in her energy. I can see the difference in like her day to day, and I to me it's like without someone like you, that's not existent.
Yeah.
Because most people, like I said, they don't have an understanding or even like an education on what it is that is good and what can be beneficial for their body and their mind, and it's
Yeah.
powerful.
I was recently talking to a good friend of mine, and he was kind of saying like they really want to start eating better, but his kids won't eat anything but chicken nuggets and fries. And I was like, well, the first step is don't buy chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're gonna get hungry and they're
Yeah.
gonna eat what you put in front of them.
No, absolutely.
And then the other thing is we do a lot of homeschool tours and Girl Scouts, and a lot of parents will get here and be like, oh, my kid's not gonna eat any greens. And then we'll start walking around. I'm like, try this edible flour. And they're like,
That's
oh,
cool.
that's sweet. It tastes like citrus. I'm like, try this one. Okay, now try this one. Next thing you know, their kids are eating collard greens.
Yeah.
They're eating,
Yeah.
kale and things like that. And
Yeah.
they're like, my kids wouldn't eat this at home.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, it's part of it's introducing it. You gotta worm your way up to it. But that's really, as you said, eating a lot of different colors. There's so much nutrients in fresh food.
Yeah, it's cool because I saw that like on your calendar, you guys do like the tours, and I was wondering even today because like we were supposed to shoot later on today. I mean, obviously you guys are booked. I mean, how crazy does it get around here? Like, do people like come out here that often?
Yeah, we do quite a few tours. When we first started the farm, I did tours for free, and
Oh,
so
wow.
I realized I'm like, oh, now I'm spending 10 hours a week, 15
Yeah.
hours a week doing tours, and
Yeah.
we get some new customers, but also there's things that need to be done.
Yeah,
So we do charge a little bit for tours, but we love big group tours. That's awesome to have 50 kids at once. And then we do a lot of adult tours too. With our farm to table dinner series, we walk around and we get to try a little bit of everything, try some flavors that they've never even heard of or didn't know was an edible plant.
yeah,
And then we also tour a ton of people from actually all over the world. People in Africa that want to build a farm, people in India.
that makes
And
sense.
so we have like some consulting that we do with them or ask us anything kind of tours. So they're always interesting.
Yeah,
People are always bringing stuff in, which keeps it interesting for me.
yeah. No, I mean that's crazy because I can't imagine the schedule. Because I mean, like when I even just hearing you talk about everything, I'm like, man, dude, like delivering, growing. I mean, consulting. I mean, you're wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah,
But
like-
again, it comes down to our team. We've
Yeah.
just got. I know that I can walk away and I can sit here for a couple hours with you, and it's not going to take away from stuff. The team is out doing deliveries and picking and packing and everything
Yeah.
they need to be doing.
Yeah, I saw the chickens out front too. I have a lot of chickens. I'm really into them right now. It's funny because like people think it's wild, and I'm like, man, it's one of the coolest things. Like literally going to the backyard and being like, I've got fresh eggs.
Yeah.
Like do you guys sell the eggs or do you guys just have them here for that?
So
like,
we've got about 50 chickens. So we do sell eggs. It's one of my daughter's projects. So she hand writes
sick.
every box that goes out.
oh, that's awesome.
A lot of them get given away, or the staff takes them home. The staff when they work here, you can grab anything you want anytime. So
Yeah.
they're grabbing heads of lettuce or cartons of eggs and a lot of things
Oh,
like
that's
that.
that's really cool, man. I mean, everyone's eating well then, huh?
Yeah, everyone's eating well. The animals eat well. We've got the chickens. We raise meat rabbits. We've got guinea fowl. Until recently, we had ducks. Unfortunately, a coyote got to eat well.
Yeah.
And then we have honeybees, a little earthworm farm. So
Oh, cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I want to see that before we leave. So we've talked a little bit about what's going on, like here and with you, and I want to know what's next. What's the future hold? Because I know we've talked about you've kind of given a little insight on some plans you got. Like, tell us about it.
some of those plans are still a little bit top secret, but
Okay.
one of the biggest things is about a little over a year ago, we bought my neighbor's farm.
Yeah.
So he had existing greenhouses, and that's where we're doing the tomatoes and peppers and the fruiting crop. So we've got in total about 50,000 square feet of greenhouses.
Wow.
And right now, I think we're at about 20,000 built out. So we've got a lot of room to grow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be continuing to fill in those greenhouses. And then the next big project that it's taken more time and money than I wanted, but is coming, is we've got 4 acres of soil crops that we're putting in the back. So that's all going to be regenerative, no-till. We're in the process of collecting a lot of compost and spent mushroom blocks and building really good soil. So
Yeah,
we've
it was
got a
crazy seeing
foundation.
that.
So growing a lot more there. And then the top secret one is a little bit more of a brick and mortar location that'll involve bringing more people together.
No, that's awesome.
I can say that.
I feel like that's what this thing is all about. It's really just bringing like really, really insightful people that have vision, and then man, building the community and making something better for DFW all the way around. I have no idea how many people this is going to reach, but I'd love for them to know more about you and how to contact you. Maybe that's something that you can kind of tell them where to find you, where you guys are at, location, all that information. I feel like that'd be really helpful and insightful for them as well.
Very cool. Yeah. Definitely tag us in this and all that. But it's Profound Foods and Profound Microfarms on all of your social media channels. And then our website to order food is profoundfoods.com. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Our farm's right here in Lucas, which is Allen area, south of McKinney, north of Plano.
Yeah, it's
So,
not far at all, man. And if you guys are ever interested in coming out here, man, I'd say do it. It's really really beautiful place. An opportunity to come out and spend a day, an afternoon, teach your kids, teach yourself, try stuff, and then also, I mean, see what they have to offer on their website, and even in the produce or the food part of things.
yep.
I really do. I hope people gain an understanding of what it is that is required to do this, because that's what this whole podcast is all about. It's really just me hanging out with some friends and kind of asking questions about growing, entrepreneurship, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. And I really just want people to see that there's opportunity everywhere. It's like find a problem and solve it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that don't know what to do, don't have purpose, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this, is really just to showcase that, like, you don't have to have like this strategic plan all the time. It's just have a direction, choose something, and go for it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, man, for taking the opportunity and this time to like hang out with me, to tell people about the farm. I'm really appreciative of it. I'm excited for everything that you guys have going on. If we can ever help with anything, we're down, man. But I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Seriously,
coming out.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.